Hi there, welcome to the Halftime Huddle, running about an hour late today. We'll get into that a little bit later on when I have a wonderful conversation with my guest, who I'm looking forward to introduce you to in a second. But the Halftime Huddle is an opportunity halfway through the week to spend a bit of time taking your breath, maybe spending some time listening to some interesting conversations I hope we're having here with some wonderful guests. Today, not an exception at all. It's brilliant. And an opportunity to refocus, ready for the second half. This is going live on Facebook. So hi, Facebook. It's going live on LinkedIn. Hi, LinkedIn. And it's also going live on YouTube. And it will sort of stay probably longer and more permanent on YouTube. So I haven't been saying this, but I spend a lot of time talking on the Halftime Huddle with some really interesting guests. And I think they deserve to be promoted a lot further around. So if you do come across this on YouTube, please like and subscribe so that more people can see the wonderful guests we have on this show, and they can get the recognition and the coverage that they deserve. So, and today is no exception. Today, I've got my namesake, another Webb. This time, the other Webb is actually directly related to me rather than the Amanda Webb we talked to a while ago. So, without too much further ado, because she's probably champing at the bit in the room behind, I'd like to say hello to Linda. Hello, Linda Webb.
Hiya.
Hi there. I'm glad to have you on today. It's going to be an interesting conversation because for those of people who can see the similarity, this is my better half, Linda Webb, who happens to run a business called Refresh and Impress. And we will get into the nitty gritty of what that is and how it come to be when we talk about, when we get Linda to share her origin story. So hello, Linda. How are you? You looking forward to spending some quality time with your husband?
It is very weird because I'm literally upstairs. Obviously, I do spend quality time with my husband upstairs, and I always know when this time of the day he's hidden away in his room, in his pit, talking to people. But this
I've told you I've been calling it my lair now, not my pit.
Oh, sorry, your lair. He's in his lair.
Yes. So yes, no, indeed. So I've been wanting to do this for a while. We haven't had this conversation live for a while, and it's a great opportunity to do that because we had a bit of a quiet week. So let's bring Linda on. And so without sort of getting too far into it, let's start where we normally start with these conversations. Your origin story. Obviously, I've heard it because you tell me time and time, and I lived through it as well. So, but for those people who haven't heard of you, haven't seen you, don't know your origin story, why Refresh and Impress, and where are you now, and why? So.
Well, yes, obviously you've heard it, but obviously many people haven't, hopefully. So I started Refresh and Press pre-lockdown. My background is I'm a nurse. I was a nurse. I'm an ex-nurse. And so I do have a love for helping people and supporting people. We then found that we were in a bit of a limbo in our life, working out about property. So we decided to invest into some property. And whilst we were investing in property, I came across lots of people that were underselling their home, under marketing their home, especially those who were elderly or vulnerable. So I'd go and view it, and then you'll have the estate agent contact me and say, well, what are you going to offer? What are you going to offer? And I didn't. I just could not offer when I knew that I would be offering well below the market value, purely because they didn't present their home, or they didn't know how to market it, or they were just struggling. So where we were investing was in Liverpool, so it wasn't a massive difference in price at that time. But that came back down to, at the time we were living sort of not far from Ascot, and I was looking at the prices, and I noticed that somebody had actually dropped their property by £250,000, which is absolutely crazy. The walls were bright yellow. There was furniture everywhere. It looked like a nursing home, although it wasn't one. And I just felt, if they'd had a little bit of education they could have then not had to go through those horrendous drops. I mean, this is what they've worked for all their lives, or what they've inherited. Or, it just seemed criminal that people just didn't understand just how to, or even, well, criminal that the estate agents didn't actually sit down and say to them, why don't you have a little look at how you're presenting the home. So that then got me into sort of the flip side. Instead of investing, how can I help people sell their home and make the best of their home? Because obviously it's most of us, it is our biggest asset. So yeah, that's how I got into it. I tend to work with, often attract vulnerable people. So elderly, people divorcing, single people, or really, really busy people, people wanting to go and move in with their other half, all sorts of mixtures. Great. People want to live somewhere in a different country. It's great fun. I love the origin story, and I like to find out why they're moving, why they bought the home in the first place, and the whole background. So yeah, that's why. And then Refresh Press started.
Absolutely, and there is another twist to Refresh and Impress that we'll obviously get into a little bit later on, hence the name. But yes, you are right. I do remember when we were going around some places up in Liverpool, and we were obviously, looking for deals. We were looking for houses that were that had potential to do up, had potential to add value to, and had potential to make some more money for us. So we were obviously looking for deals, and some of these, exactly what you said, some of these deals were purely deals because the people selling them really didn't know how to make the most of what they got.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily they had to do a massive refurb or anything. They just had to actually declutter a bit, make it remember why they bought the home. So if a lot of people had bought it, when they were a young married couple, and now are elderly and moving into a smaller or supported living. So if they could then go back and remember why they bought it and market it slightly different to attract that market, it would have been a game changer. So I don't look at people actually, I do, but I wouldn't sort of go in saying you need a new kitchen, that's not what I'm all about. It's just how you can make the most of what you already have.
Absolutely, because the small changes can make a big difference, and I love the way you mentioned this, and this is essentially one of my you are one of my cheer. I cheer you on a lot because essentially I really believe in the idea of just small changes, thinking about how you're going to who you're trying to sell this to can make a big difference to getting the right deal, for your house and getting it in the most efficient time, because a lot of us sit on a house for months and months and months because essentially the wrong people are coming to see it.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously it's also a lot harder if it's a probate property, because that's a whole new emotion attached to it. So sometimes it just does need a fresh eyes, and it's not just about moving furniture around and putting in fluffy cushions and that. It's about the whole flow, getting it back to being. We buy them with emotion. Mostly it's women, if it's a couple buying. Mostly it's a woman that makes the decision, but I'm sure a lot of when you've gone into a house, you just think, this feels good, this feels right. We buy with emotion. So, I help bring back to the emotion into a house. Because sometimes, obviously, if they've been trying to sell or they have to sell, that's one of the hardest. They have to sell because the heart's not in it. So that way I then try and get people thinking about where they're moving to. Obviously, it's hard if it's elderly, but it's still moving somewhere where they're going to feel safer, more comfortable, more supported. Again, divorce is a difficult one as well, but it is still helping them move on as well as get their property to move on.
Absolutely. And I know you're probably gonna you've said this story a time again, but not only do you just support and help them with making their house help you sit there and help them through the whole process of selling a house. A lot of the people here you're dealing with, and you sort of alluded to the fact that these are people who for whom housing is not their big deal. They're maybe vulnerable, but they're also probably haven't sold or mentioned sort of doing anything in the house for ages.
Absolutely. When we started this journey, I remember thinking, oh my God, I've got to talk to an estate agent. Oh my God, they're scary people. How am I going to phone them? And I remember, right, okay, deep breath, I'm going to phone one estate agent. So if I'm feeling that, and I still sometimes think, oh God, I've got to go and talk to an estate agent. If I'm feeling that, imagine if you're vulnerable and you really don't want to sell and you haven't spoken to them and you're worried that they're not going to actually give you the correct advice. They just want your sale. I mean, there are, as we all know, different spectrums of good, bad in different estate agents and things, but they are one of the things that people fear the most. And that's why I do go in and help them. I sit with some of my clients when they get the estate agents round. I can call the estate agents and organise it for them. I also will also be oh my God, the brain's gone. I can be there for them, and I tell all the estate agents, don't harass them, because if you harass them, you don't get their business. So I love actually just being that little extra protection for my clients if they need it. Not everyone does. Some people like to just get on with it, others don't. So, whatever they need.
Absolutely.
My whole business is flexible. I like dealing with whatever my client needs. If they are concerned all about the estate agents, I can help them there. If they're concerned about, I can help advise them solicitors, I can get trades in, I can do as much or as little as they want. And obviously I can also help them prepare their house. And I know you love that bit. I do not do the decluttering. I don't like doing the decluttering. We've got 4 kids. I don't want to tidy and clean up other people's stuff and declutter, but I can help them. I know a lot of people, and I can signpost them to whoever they might need.
And this leads me on to one of the things we often talk about. If you've been across here before, you know I'm a comic book superhero geek. So I love A, origin story, which we talked about, and B, I also love to talk about people's superpowers and kryptonite. And it's nice to know that you've actually sort of sat there and think, my kryptonite is the mess that people potentially are living through, and helping them through that. That's not my deal. That's not my jam. I know they've got to do it. Someone else could do it. And you've also alluded to what your superpower is, but which is where the emotional content and the empathy that you have with these people who are often at the stage when they're trying to sell their house, going through some kind of change in their lives at some level. So they're having to deal with that, and they're also having to deal with it can be quite a complicated process.
Yeah, if you haven't done it before, it's really difficult. Well, as you know, we're going through it with my father's home, and it is. I've done it loads. It is complicated. It isn't that straightforward. There's loads of bits for people to remember, and there's also so much emotion going on. So it's so much harder.
Yeah, and like you say, and recognizing that is what I would say is one of your superpowers. So built from many years of supporting people through the NHS as a nurse.
Yeah. Oh, if you've took the people out that I've got, sounds really awful. So I'm not particularly a lover of new builds, and I'm not particular not of new builds themselves, but I will use a word I hate, stage a new build. It has I do it, but it doesn't really fulfill me with anything. Because it's the people, it's being there, it's supporting them, and it's seeing them move on. That's what I love.
And case in point, and I'm surprised you haven't mentioned this story about you'll go the extra stage for this lady's story. You talk about the who's moving into a home.
Oh, okay, yeah, my favourite story. Well, not my favourite story. My biggest success, really, probably, but in a different way. A lady was trying to sell her. No, I was approached. I'll go back a step. I was approached by someone. A lady was moving into their home, and they were worried about her Chinese artifacts that she had to sell. She'd spent her childhood collecting them with her father, and she's now 94 at the time. And obviously she was downsizing, and she needed to let go of some of her amazing artifacts. I, black and white, know nothing about China. About a Chinese and China, about these artifacts. Hands up, that is not my thing. Well, to the extent the bit I really loved, she actually told me was from the local market. So that's not my forte. But I did know how to get hold of someone. I knew how to contact them. So we sat with her. I talked it through. She told me her history of growing up and her love for all the bits. And she told me that her local antique dealer recommended that she'd get about 10 grand for these bits. I thought, well, we need to get better opinions. So I managed to get hold of 2 antique dealers, which at the time was really lucky because apparently it was really, the Chinese were definitely wanting their stuff back. I mean, saying that, I don't know if they might still be. I assume they still are. But it was particularly important that they wanted their stuff back at the time. So what they did, I got hold of these 2. The fact they were both very, very keen to visit, that was a bit of a light bulb moment. They both came. I sat with the lady as they looked around. It took several hours. I'm sure she had over 100 little pieces, big, little, all different. I sat with her both times. And when their valuation came back, she obviously got all the valuation and everything, and they valued, I think it was about 22 to 35,000. So it really obviously depended on the market and how they got on. So she agreed which one she liked, which person she really enjoyed, and they came again, and they packed everything up again. I sat with her, and we actually went and sat in the garden. She thought she'd be okay, but she was like, oh dear, I feel a bit emotional, but obviously she did. So I sat with her again then, and she packed it all up. We then got to the auction, and I actually did volunteer. Do you want me to take you to it? Do you want me to sit with you and watch it online? She said, no, I don't. She didn't want anything to do with it, which again, fine. But I did have a little look at it online. And at the end of the day, we found out that actually she raised over £150,000. So she'd gone from maybe 10 to 150. And the lovely, lovely bit when I then helped her move, and when she was settled into her room, I came back another time. I just happened to be in the home, and I sort of came to see her, and I said, oh, she was like, oh, what do you need? What do you want? I said, nothing. I have a set fee, done, dusted, paid for. And she said, wow, Dad will be laughing at Father. My dad will be laughing at me, thinking that's the best 450 quid I'd ever spent. And that was it. That was all I wanted, to see her happy, sorted, and she got what she deserved. And that money was actually then going to go to her brother, who'd had a minor stroke, because she said, what do I need it for at 94? So yeah. So I do mixed. I don't have to do whatever. If I can help, I'm there to help.
Which is, like I said, again, when we talk about sort of superpowers and thingy, I think is where you found your area is the superpowers, is the support through the process, not just the practical, which you do, like I said, the practical. What do you call it? Fluff and buff.
Oh, fluff and buff. Yeah, I'm not actually. It needs to be done, but I'm not actually lover of making all the beds and putting all the cushions and stuff. It looks great, but it's like to just get it right. I'm also a little bit, as you know, a little bit annoying because can be a little bit of a perfectionist, and I will go back and forth about 10 times to get those cushions looking exactly right. But I way prefer to actually just chat to the first bit.
But this leads me on to another change or another variation you've done, or pivoting is the word that people talk about in your business when it comes to the refresh and impress, the refresh part of that phrase. So where did that come from?
The refresh part. You've lost me.
You've lost me. When you talk about impress, is the impress get people to sell the house? The refresh piece is when you say about the fluff and buff. You're talking to people who are going through some kind of transition in their lives at some stage.
Okay, because I'm like thinking when we do staging, I do the refresh. We get the decorators in, but I think you're going down if you're not looking to move. Yeah. If you're not looking for move, I can help people. I do help people also refresh their homes. Children have all moved out. there's, well, actually, I'll go back to a particular client. Her husband had passed, her children had moved out. She didn't really want to sell. She wasn't really ready to sell, or doesn't even know if she wanted to sell. But every room, she wasn't that particularly comfortable in her own home. Lots of her rooms had bits that her husband had brought back from business trips. She didn't go on the trip. She said they were really weird. They're not even something she particularly liked, but they're there. So we just went through every single room and just sort of saying, what do you like? If you don't like that, why have you got it here? And it still was keeping her husband with her because he made a few things for her and that sort of thing. I have to do it, if I remember correctly, it wasn't necessarily his fault, but she made some stuff for him. He made some stuff for her, sorry, and we went around, and she had her grandchildren come stay a lot, so she had some of the rooms. I said, well, you could even just get nicer bedding in that one, get rid of all those bits, and start making it into a room your grandchildren want to come. But she had a favourite room, and it was full of, I think, a little tight car, old chair, and all these random bits. And I just said, I love this room. I said, well, what do you do in it? And she said, I love to sit here and read. So we just talked through, well, actually, let's get rid of the children's stuff and let's get you've got far too many armchairs in your living room. Let's move one over. Let's get a little bookcase and some cushions, and this is your little safe haven. You don't need the kids, and the children don't need necessarily. She had loads of room. They didn't need to come into that room. And even that just made her just think, oh yeah, I can get my house back. Just to get a house slowly back. And that's if you decide to move in however long, you've got that lovely little nook they already, rather than this, I'm not really sure what it's itsy bitsy. So little bits like that, just to help people. And I know we've talked about bedrooms, empty bedrooms, and the kids have all left. Make them into a craft room with a sofa bed, or make them into a study. Saying that, I am in a bedroom now with a sofa bed. So yeah, that's my refresh bit. Make your house work for you. I mean, it's your biggest asset, so make it work for you.
Cool. So there's a lot to digest in terms of there, and like you say, I think the focus underneath this is the support you give to the people who are going through this transition, whether it's a transition in their lives that affects their home and environment, through to a transition in which it actually radically affects their environment, in which they have to sell and move into a different environment. So I think it's great that you've found that superpower, which is something I think all business owners need to spend some quality time finding that little special thing that makes them special, that helps to redefine their business as unique to them and unique to people. So another thing we talk about when this is basically, much as I'd love to spend a lot of time talking about your business, it's also about the business of business necessarily. I mean, Halftime Huddle is an opportunity to spend some quality time talking to other business owners about how they run business. You and I are in a special sort of situation that we're both running our businesses, and we support each other in that respect. But how else do you find your motivation to keep yourself going? And what is it that gets you from A to B, apart from obviously your better half in front of the microphone here?
Well, obviously, of course, it's a better half. Sorry, better half, did I say? I quite like networking. That definitely gets me out and about. So that's so not only is it good to obviously meet other business owners and get to know, but you get to know other people. You get support there. I enjoy networking. Sometimes obviously it is a bit much, and obviously it is when they start selling to you. But networking, you actually get that great group. And obviously we have Mastermind, which I'm sure you've said your origin story, which you very nicely set up sort of initially for me, because then I have that group of business family that support me, and I can message at any time to say, this isn't working, or any query, or my leaflet is bizarre, or does this work, or can you check that, or I have that support, and obviously we meet regularly, we get to know each other inside out, and we tell people when they're bullshitting, which Yeah, which is what family should do. And so definitely do really, really appreciate our business family from the mastermind, because the support we get from them, I get from them. They know when we've been together enough now that we don't have to say, oh, that's really nice. Yeah, that's great. Oh, you're doing well.
To be honest, I'd almost forgotten that we did this together, because that's not necessarily what I was what I was edging for. I was edging for essentially, you started talking about networking, but I know the networking was also about connection. Thank you for talking about the group that we formed together, because definitely an area where you can spend some quality time talking about your business and about the things that you're going through is definitely for me, in what I do and what we do here is definitely something every small business or every business should have at some stage. But I think what I was also talking about is the connection you found. For instance, this evening you're going out with a bunch of people you've met at networking.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's the networking is also then friends. We go out and not necessarily support, because obviously not everyone knows. We moved down here only where we live a couple of years ago. So all those friends we'd had from the kids were little and all that, they're still about, but they're not involved in our day-to-day life. So through networking, I have managed to find new friends like that. Again, we don't. Like I say, we don't always chat about business. We don't really chat about business much at all. But we're also there for each other. If something comes up, someone says, I'm looking for a bookkeeper or whatever, we now, yeah. And not just because they're our friend, we know they'll give, the best service going. Networking has, for me, opened my eyes at meeting lots of other people as well.
No, absolutely. And you're right. Yeah, I think one of the things you've alluded to is there is multiple ways you can get support running from day to day through your week. There's the actual practical support in like you talked about, does my brochure look good? What are there things I can change with my brochure? Should I change this font, that font, whatever, etc. That kind of practical support that you get from a group when you don't necessarily have it in your own internal team. If you don't have a team, whereas you also get the emotional and the support from having a bunch of people you can go out and have a cup of coffee with, or a glass of wine with, or go out for a meal and just chill and remember that there's stuff outside of business and you can all be together and support each other that way. So I think that's what you've highlighted, and this is sort of where I was alluding to.
Yeah, and also, I want to go to. There's a show up in London, not a singy dancey show, a interior design show that I hadn't been to because I didn't necessarily want to go on my own, or is it me or what? So, but now we go out for a day out, so it is work, but it's also a lot of fun. So yeah, we now mix in stuff, which is great. So yeah, it's work and fun. It's not all. Which is great. So
would you say that's one of the biggest thing that keeps you going day to day is the fact that there is this connection with other people? You talked about the group that we have, plug here. We've got co-working this afternoon. If you want to try out co-working, then definitely do look us up. But there's also the other connection. Do you think that is what helps and keeps you going?
Yeah, because I'm a people person. I'm not. You're more of a geek. You could sit in your office and you and your computers could get on. That I have to get out. I haven't even got to go. It's awful weather here, but go for a walk, and then I end up chatting to people. As you all said, I can talk to anyone. I can. Yeah. So I'm very much a people person, and business is lonely. Well, yeah, it's lonely. So it's not always. You need that support behind you. You need not just them to say, oh, I believe in what you're doing, or not to pat you on the back and say, oh, I'm one, just to actually break from the monotony of I'm not getting anywhere, I need to take a break. So I'm just going to have to duck down, though, this is very unprofessional, but you'd rather me not disappear on you.
I could see. Is your battery running out?
My battery's running out. That's it. All back. Yeah. So no, to me, I need people, I've always needed people. So I need, so business wise, yes. And that will keep me going. And if I had a week of just being on my own and only seeing clients and stuff, I need more than that. Obviously clients is good, but go and see them, but not just, but if it was all the planning, well, we won't mention that word planning.
Brilliant. Yeah, and like I said, again, one of the things we try and do here, and what I try and do here is to showcase some of the strategies and the things that people have learned and found about on the way that helps them keep taking that step. The Halftime Huddle is obviously I know a nod to the fact that we're halfway through the week, and things change during that week, and you need to just keep plugging to the end of the week, and there's another week, and then there's another month, and etc. And having something that keeps you focused on that, and for you having sort of some people that you can go and chat to and talk to and keep you motivated, which is I think what we're trying to share here, which is what I'm what you wanting to do.
Also for me, I now have a backup for if I need extra support. Although I have got basic interior design experience, also basic, I've got qualifications, but I have a friend now that is an interior designer that I can talk to her, and we can come in and support me on this one. And big staging projects, again, I have people I can turn to, and that's all through networking and friends, so I know they're there, and I know I can trust them. I know it's not just going to be, can I phone you up? Can you come and do this for me?
No, absolutely. I think you've hit the nail on the head in terms of what networking is really for. Is for building a network of collaborators and a network of support business, not necessarily a network of customers and sales.
No.
Yeah. So because which is where you alluded to, and one of the things about sometimes you go to a network and feel that all you do is you're pitched at.
Oh God, I absolutely hate those type of networking, because I'm like, I'm not there to buy just to buy your makeup, or I need an accountant, or I'm there to get to know you, and then when I need the accountant, and then when I need that's different. But I'm not there to. That's not what I'm there for. I'm there to know you as a person, and I'm not going to recommend you if I don't know you as a person either.
No, absolutely, and that's the other thing. You're having a network of people you talk there is not all of the people you're meeting today are into interior design. Some of them do other things like and essentially you would recommend them because they'd give you a good deal. They also, because you've built up a relationship, then they will generally. This sounds a bit wrong, I think, because it isn't necessarily the case that they won't do a good job, even if someone just turns up on their front door. But they will go slightly that little bit of extra because they know they're also representing someone else. They're representing you as a referrer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so having that kind of relationship and building up that relationship means that that you can safely recommend people because you've built up that relationship. You understand what they're doing, and you can do that. So networking definitely is. And you go to local networking. This is one of our one of the twos and fro's with me. You're very much a local business.
I'm a local. But I want to start doing a lot online, so I do need to do some online stuff. But I do. Oh, actually, no, I do some. I do some of the groups I'm in. I do some online, which is great because you hear from all over the world. But it's a lot hard. I find it a lot harder to make relationships with people you're just meeting online. Body language and all the rest of it, just the same. But on the other side, if you're put into a breakout room, you've got their attention. But although you didn't necessarily choose to be with them, that's another. To and from, positive and negative on that one. But if I'm in a networking group, sometimes it can be awkward if you don't think I really want to talk to that person. and it's hard to, especially if you're newish and they've been there, it's sometimes quite hard. But then that's where your one-to-ones should occur afterwards, and the follow-up, which I know you're really good at. I'm not quite so good at.
Well, the advantage that I have with the follow-ups that I do through doing a lot of my networking virtually is the follow-up is virtually. So I don't have, even to go locally, even if for instance, a lot of the people you talk to are in the next city at Portsmouth. Yes, a 20-minute minimum to get to Portsmouth and there, and 20-minute back. So you're talking probably an hour-ish out of your time to just go for a coffee.
Yeah, and that would mean you have to go off the island.
No, but I'm just saying. Well, what I'm saying is that the reason I can do one-to-ones quicker and better. Yeah. No, you're right. Getting off.
Me, I wouldn't really want to do. Actually, it's one a day almost, or two a day, and then the day is gone.
Yeah, indeed, and these are often what you talk about. These are often on spec with going out and once you've built a relationship, going for a coffee with someone and you can spend some quality time chatting is different to these on spec type conversations that you're trying to have with someone you don't really know. You want to get to know them better, which is brilliant. But you have to sort of get through that. There's a certain amount of friction when you're trying to do it locally.
Yeah, I have had a few, not necessarily down here, but you've gone to, and within like a couple of minutes, I think I'm glad I came all this way, and they're not actually interested in talking to me, and we're not going to build a relationship, and this is actually a complete waste of time.
Yeah, which is why sometimes, like I said, even though there are pros and cons, having a virtual Zoom or whatever else your tool of choice is, avoids the extra buffer thing that you need to do because you're just going around a corner to have a cup of coffee. You just sort of walk down to your room, turn on the computer. Talking of tools, we also like to understand and the sort of things people do, the sort of processes they go through day to day. Do you have any favorite tools that you couldn't live with, or habits that you take up and do that essentially what keeps you focused?
Strange, because yeah.
But it's not necessarily me that you're talking to. There's no one here. Look, I'm looking at the little thing. There's no one here listening at the moment, but there will be. So
there will be, and there was. For me, it is Canva. Do love my bit of Canva, and I do like ChatGPT. I know that
you've got tainted with the AI. AI's got into your blood a little.
I do like a little bit of AI support. I don't mean you're going to see everything coming out now as AI, but I do like it does give me a little bit of extra confidence if I write a post and just think, oh, does that make sense? I can chuck it in there and it can help. Yeah, it can just sort of, to be honest, it often doesn't change a lot nowadays. But yeah, I do like that's my comfort blanket. I do like, I know you do. I do like Trello, but not necessarily. I love it for lists, especially if I am doing projects. And if it's a techie person I'm doing it with, I love it that I can share. And then they can see, I can break down what's happening in each room. And non-digital, I do like my bullet journal, which we got into, didn't we, before around lockdown, I think. Yeah. I can't
remember how we both got into it, but yeah, I mean, I'd done it a little bit beforehand, but I don't know why we both.
No, I do like the written. I do like the bullet journal to write it all down, and that does keep me.
I think if I remember rightly, the reason we encouraged each other, and you in particular, to go into the bullet journal is I was tired of picking up backs of envelopes with your lists on.
I didn't like my old list. You're right. No, well, yeah, I now do. I do it in the bullet journal. Unlike you, I tick things off, not just move them on. I don't move things on very often.
Do a little bit of both.
I've got a halo, just because it annoys the hell out of me.
Which is good. Which is the thing about a list. And I know, talking about lists, you love putting them on lists even after you've done them, so you can tick them off.
I don't don't do that much anymore. Done that. That's gone. That's all.
There you go. You've sucked into it. And I love the way you use Trello. I love the way you've used Trello. I mean, Trello, from me, and I think I might have encouraged you to do it ages back, but Trello was always for me, planning and in the teams that I used to work with in business and corporate. But I love the way you've started to use Trello as a means of communication between, like you talk about, people who are at least technical supporting, who can use Trello. Obviously, there are people for whom that would be a very difficult sort of leap. But for those people who can understand and use tools, it's a great way of, you use it in an interesting way, don't you?
Yeah,
or
I
at
love
least to
that
me,
I
it
can
is
then
interesting.
I can do my report almost in Trello, so I can then actually, this is what I advised you there. That's advised, and then there's a list with all their useful contact. I just find it so much easier, and they seem to find it easier because then they can share with their partners, and we're all on the same page. And then they can add bits, and we can all add comments, and it does. You can contacted the decorator, or it's easy. It just, for people that are that way inclined, it's a brilliant way. Otherwise, it will be either a written email. It will be a lot more written, old school. I don't think I've printed one for a long time, but it is quite.
No, I think you're right. I think
it is a lot easier to just send it that way. But obviously, my favourite for Trello is Christmas lists. So there you go.
Yes, indeed. You have used it for Christmas lists for a while. Yes, I love that. And like I said, I would encourage other people to try something. If you haven't tried Trello, definitely worth a try. And Canva, I think, is everywhere now. Everybody's playing with Canva, and like you say, ChatGPT is everywhere. But I mean, in particular, what is it? What is your biggest use for ChatGPT, or does it vary?
It does vary. It's quite good for planning sometimes, especially good old social media if I don't really know. Although it gets a bit American. I don't really know what to put. I'm a bit confused. But my favourite bit of using it is, and that can be letters to a hospital, letters to, whatever. I like to put it in, and it just double checks and formats it. I mean, that's my favourite thing. One of my favourite things, because it just gives me the boost of confidence. But ideas sometimes, can you give me ideas of how to, I know I want to do a course on can you outline some ideas? I quite like. Sometimes a tick list, it does do. I completely tweak it, but it gives you ideas of what you've missed, or, oh, okay, that was a good one, or that was a. I love it when I did say, I think it was about Christmas, and it was on about, because they put a lot of it is. Am I right? A lot of it's American.
It can be. It does default to American at the beginning. You can obviously tell it not to be, but I think they.
It was all about putting out loads and loads of lights and loads of very non-English. And so I said, could you make it more English? And then it said, invite people around for Christmas afternoon tea. And I'm like, a little bit too English now. We don't invite people around with
tea and tiffin and tea and cucumber sandwiches.
It was very much get out, polish your tea set. And no, that's too English. But yeah, that was fun.
Too old school English. I don't know whether there are any people anymore do that.
Although it's probably coming back. No, they'll probably use a tea set for a cocktail afternoon now. But yeah.
Yes, tea set full of cocktails rather than for TT. So yeah, indeed. So brilliant tools again, and I.
And if I can use Trello, anyone can use Trello.
Yes, absolutely. I would agree. And to be honest, the thing about ChatGPT as well, ChatGPT is reasonably, as long as you recognize its strengths and its weakness. Again, we're back to superpowers and kryptonite. Its superpower is in some sort of things it can do with language, and the data it's got in the background. Its kryptonite is obviously, it's not human. It doesn't have the emotions and feelings that you have, and it doesn't have your knowledge and your understanding. No matter, even to the extent of you being able to share that with it through conversations and chats, it still isn't you. but yeah. So like I said, and if you I'm not sort of belittling you particularly, but if you're finding it useful and helpful, then yeah, definitely, it's come a long way, and I think businesses can get quite a lot from starting to at least dabble with it as a tool.
And I mean, I know I absolutely dabble. It's just a little dabble. But it used to be, oh, what I'm saying doesn't make sense, or oh, what I'm saying is rubbish, or what, we all have those stupid voices in our head that tell us what we're, but then you put it through that and it might just lay it out differently. Oh, that sounds good now. just that little extra confidence to just tweak it for you. I do, yeah, it does give me help. Sometimes it goes down,
Yeah.
Obviously I'm not that techy. It goes down a rabbit hole and you're like, oh, God's sake, that's not what I wanted. Oh, cough in your head.
Oh, sorry. I don't know whether anybody heard that cough. I tried to mute it before it went, and it reminded me of. Good. The one other thing that I like to bring to this conversation, and mainly I do this because it's you know me, I love books. So getting other people's recommendation for books to read is great for me because it adds to my wish list and the things I love to read. And so I'm offering the same option for you to, and I think we've talked about this a little bit beforehand. I don't know which one you're going to plump for. We often have this conversation because I know a lot of people. I mean, you now. Another thing about the social thing, you now have a book club you're reading. You've joined, and you do a lot of reading and stuff in that respect, and picking up interesting books from there. So what I'm asking for, and I don't know whether I've bored you with this conversation beforehand. Did I bore you with it? I'm sure I've bored all the other people who have listened to this more than once. It was nicked very much from a guy called Tim Ferriss. Who the 4-hour work week, the 4-hour week, whatever, etc., and lots of 4-hour things. He talked about books, and he didn't want people's favorite book, because people who read a lot, and you as well, you read a lot. His favorite book is often one of the last few ones you've read because it's fresh in your mind, it's exciting. You've either, especially if it's a good book, it's something that's living with you still. Whereas what he wanted to talk about, books you've gifted or recommended. So that's really what this phrase is about, because it gives it a little bit more of a more permanence to the book recommendation, because it's something you've actually gone and asked people to pick up, or you've given it to someone as a gift. So and I know you have a couple here. So which one? And you can use both. So what would yours be?
Well, if you're going to go by gifted and recommended and want to reread again, which is something I don't normally do, it is Seven Sisters. It's the Seven Sisters. It's just so
this
much.
Is a little bit of a cheat, because it's not just one book; it's a series of books.
It's 7 books. Is it 7 or is it 8? I think it's 8. But I have gifted it. I have recommended it. I would recommend it. I'd say it's female bias. She's it's a great. It's by Lucinda Riley. It's a series of books, and I got it on my Kindle, and it's a shame. I wish I'd bought them, really, because then I could have shared them more. And I literally was going from the next one. They're big books as well. As soon as I finish, let's go on to the next one, because they're not just. They're about all different parts of the world, all different little bits of history you gain. It's just and I don't know anyone that hasn't enjoyed them. So mine is probably Seven Sisters. Yeah, and then we were talking before this, and I probably would also always recommend A Shadow in the Wind. Is it in the Wind? Yeah, I need to read that one again.
That's a different book that we were talking about earlier.
It is a different book what we're talking about, because yes, I would recommend the other one. Basically, we were talking about what I like doing, books I like reading, and basically they're all last century. I quite like a bit of war. I quite like a bit of although Seven Sisters isn't. It's literally a mixture of all. Yeah, it would be seven. Yeah, it would be Seven Sisters. It's based. Every book takes you a different part of the world, takes a different bit of their history. Some of it's quite modern history, and it's a bit of an eye opener. And it's yes, I would probably say Seven Sisters. You're right, and I have bought it and gifted it, and I have recommended it a lot. So yes.
Indeed, and I love the little backstory with this. In the author would spend quite a lot of time in the place that she set up. Yeah,
yeah. I don't know if you know the last bit about it, which wasn't so nice. Was it COVID when unfortunately the author got cancer and actually passed away, and the last book her son wrote. I think she'd done the outlines and her son finished it for her, but you wouldn't be able to tell. So yeah, so it's
oh, that's nice. That's nice.
But it means the whole story is complete.
Yes, and yeah, I love that. So yeah, like I said, often people take this as an example to recommend a business book. But what I quite like is, and you alluded to this when we were talking about this earlier, is you can learn lessons that will take you forward from all kinds of books, not just a book with a list of do this, do that, do the other, the business, guru type books, etc. You can learn about different things from all kinds of books.
Oh yeah, there's so many different things you can learn, and for me, quite a bit's historical. Yeah, I mean, it does. It takes you to Brazil. It takes you all around the world, and there are bits I hadn't thought about that. And you can obviously then think about your own life and how, some people it's all about perseverance. Some people it's about prejudice, and yeah, it's good. It's great. It's a great mixture of books.
Good, and I will put the links to the books and the book series and the author in some notes and comments wherever you find this when you're finding this later. And perhaps I should spend some time and read it yourself, even though you said it's female based. I will give one of them at least a chance.
I mean, I don't know whether it is. I just only know females that have read it.
Well, there was a thing I saw recently, and I think it was on one of our favorite podcasts, which is The Rest is Entertainment. Richard Osmond and Marina. Oh, it's gonna ruin me. I will put Marina. Put it this way. Sorry, Marina, if you ever come across this. I love your conversations, but I can't remember your surname. They were talking about the questions about facts about book reading and the fact that men aren't reading books, etc. and etc. So it does seem to be there is a slight slant towards women reading more books than men, and especially when women reading more fiction than men.
Well, my brother does. They share books, but
no,
then I think
absolutely, yeah.
I think he reads more detective-y bits.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is one of those things where, statistics are one of those interesting things where just because the general, if you add everybody up and divide them by the number of people, you get this average, doesn't mean that there are lots of outliers. There are lots of people who do things slightly differently. There are lots of people who, there are lots of men who read lots of books. There are lots of women who don't read books. So, all this kind of stuff is a bit circumspect and a bit sort of weird, but there does tend to be a tendency towards more women reading than men. So which would probably reflect in terms of the amount of people writing and what people are writing for. Probably more women based.
I wonder how many men read Richard Osmond.
Don't know. Again, maybe we'll you and I will send a letter to Richard Osmond's and Marina Hyde. I think it might be Hyde.
Might be. Rings a bell.
Yeah, it does ring a bell. Their podcast, The Rest is Entertainment, to ask him what is the slant for gender-based reading of his books, because I don't think he answered that when he was answering the question. Anyhow, it's been great talking to you. I'm glad we've finally penciled this into our very hectic diaries, which they're not. But I'm glad we got a chance to do this. We should do this more often. Maybe we should spend more time talking to each other.
Yeah.
Indeed. Maybe not necessarily across some kind of Zoom thing. Maybe we'll meet for, you and I could go for a coffee sometime. A real face-to-face meeting, or face-to-face one-to-one. So great talking to you. I've loved doing this. For those people who have made it through to the end, thank you very much for listening to us. For those people who have come to the end, I'd love to have a chat with you. These are the things that make my week, brighten up my week in the middle of the week, is having a chance to have a great conversation with some interesting people. And Linda, my better half notwithstanding. And I would love to speak to you. But in the meantime, thanks, Linda, and I will go and say goodbye. See you later.
Take care. Bye.
So thank you again for listening through to the end of the Halftime Huddle. Please do, if you come across this on YouTube, please do like and subscribe, so this gets a little bit more preference to other people who are listening and potentially could benefit from listening to what other people are doing in their businesses. And in the meantime, it's a little bit later than the halftime huddle, but please, I hope your second half is your best half. So I will see you all next time.